카프라 TV.
네, 안녕하세요. 카프라 TV 시청자 여러분. 제 이름은 제임스 안 로스앤젤레스 한인회 이사입니다. 여러분들 아시다시피 5월 25일 날 2020년도에 조지 플로이드라는 흑인 남성이 미국의 미네소타주의 미니애폴리스라는 도시에서 죽었습니다. 그 경찰들이 이제 이 사람이 이제 그 체포가 됐는데 어레스트가 됐는데 한 백인 경찰이 무릎으로 조지 플로이드라는 흑인 남성의 목을 갖다가 8분 넘게 이제 밟고 있어서 나중에 이분이 이제 숨지셨는데 그것 때문에 지금 전국 미국에서 카나다 토론토도 뭐 추가로 지금 데모를 하고 있다는 지금 많은 시위하고 많은 이제 프로테스트가 생기고 있는데요. 오늘 로스앤젤레스 한인회 주최로 저희가 커뮤니티 비상 대책 회의를 했습니다. 여러 이제 정치인, 로컬 정치인들이랑 많은 한인타운에 계신 단체장님들도 이제 참여를 하셨는데 저희가 인터넷으로 줌 미팅을 통해서 이제 우리 로컬 정치인들 로스앤젤레스 카운티 디스트릭트 2 슈퍼바이저 마크 Ridley-Thomas, 그 다음에 Greg Good, Chief of Legislative and External Affairs, 이제 그분이 이제 LA시장실에서 나오신 분이고, 그 다음에 허브웨슨 10지구 시의원, 그 다음에 저희 둘 중에 한인분인 데이빗류 4지구 LA 시의원이 이제 나오시고, 그다음에 마지막으로 LAPD 로스앤젤레스 폴리스 디파트먼트 LA 경찰서 데피티 치프인 블레이크 차우 이렇게 해서 이제 모이셨고, 그다음에 많은 한인타운에 계신 당체자님들, 그다음에 호스트는 우리 로스앤젤레스 한인회 회장님 로라 전 회장님하고 저희 이사장님 제임스 안 이사장님이 이제 참여를 했는데요. 제가 요 영상 제가 이제 말씀드리고 이제 줌 콜을 저희가 녹음을 해서 여러분한테 물론 이제 보여드리겠지만 한인들이 지금 뭐 물론 아시다시피 28년 전에 4.19 폭동 때 여러분 이제 많은 분들 이제 비즈니스 오너들하고 이제 많은 분들이 이제 피해를 많이 보셨는데, 그런 걸 인해서 저희가 한인분들이 뭐를 expectation을 가지셔야 하는지 지금도 월요일날 저녁 10시, 9시 반이 지금 지나가는데 지금 밴나이스 도시, 뭐 할리우드 여러 군데서 지금 루팅을 하고 지금 라이어팅도 하고, 이제 물론 조용하게 피스풀하게 데모하는 분들도 계시는데 지금 많은 루팅 때문에 지금 한인타운이 지금 안전할지 많이 궁금해 하시는 분들도 계시고, 비즈니스 오너 분들도 나의 비즈니스에 대해서 걱정을 하시는 분들이 많아서 저희가 오늘 우리 전 회장님이 정치인들한테 이제 많은 질문을 했는데 제가 좀 이따가 그거 보여드리는데 영어로 저희가 미팅을 했기 때문에 제가 한국말로 약간 짧게 제가 서머라이즈를 해드리겠습니다. 그러니까 뭐 많은 얘기가 많이 왔다 갔다 했는데 결론은 로라 전 회장님이 이제 물어본 게 제일 이제 궁금한 게 한인분들 이제 위해서 물어보는 겁니다. 한인 비즈니스들의 우려가 많다. 무장을 하고 비즈니스를 지켜야 하는지, 아니면 비즈니스를 닫고 보호 조치, 보호업, 나무 판때기 올리는 거 있죠? 해야 하는지, 어떻게 대처해야 하는가 등 현재 계획을 얘기해 달라라고 이제 질문을 했습니다. 그래서 정치인들하고 데피티 치프 분이 이제 얘기를 해주셨는데 제가 그거를 간단하게 설명을 해드리겠습니다. 허브웨슨 로스앤젤레스 10지구 시의원님은 일단은 가게 닫는 것은 개인 결정입니다. Personal decision. 그 다음에 지금은 1992년대와 완전히 다른 시기. LA 비즈니스는 오너들 스스로 무장하는 것은 권장하지 않음. I do not recommend anybody to arm themselves. 저희가 이제 물어봤습니다. 만약에 이제 문제가 생기면 여러분 92년도 기억하시겠지만 많은 분들이 이제 그 총이나 뭐 이런 무기를 들고 이제 나와서 한인타운을 이제 스스로 지키셨는데 그런 거를 권하냐고 물어봤는데 허브웨슨은 지금 이제 92년도랑 지금 LA 그때랑은 이제 정치가 많이 바뀌어졌고 그런 거를 이제 하지 말라고 이제 말씀하셨습니다. 웨스턴 의원실, 데이빗류 의원실, 211 시장실, 911 LAPD에서 한국어 서비스 지원 가능. 그러니까 그 10지구 시의원 허브웨슨, 그 4지구 데이빗류 그 한인 그 저기 시의원 계시죠? 211 시장실 911 LAPD로 전화를 하시면 한국어 서비스가 다 가능하다고 이제 말씀드렸으니까 영어가 짧으셔도 여기에다가 이제 연락을 하시면 한국어 서비스가 available 하다고 말씀해 주십니다. 그 다음에 두 번째 그 2지구의 Ridley-Thomas 슈퍼바이저입니다. 이분은 가게 휴업은 비즈니스 오너의 결정. 똑같이 말씀합니다. 영업할 수 있으나 매일 사태 확인하는 것 중요. 이제 매일매일 이제 사태를 확인하는 것이 중요하다고 말씀하시고, 그 다음에 비즈니스 관련 지원은 LA카운티 재난 구호 센터로 연락. 그 전화번호가 833-238-4450. 833-238-4450. 월요일부터 금요일날 아침 8시 반부터 오후 5시 반, 토요일은 아침 10시부터 오후 3시까지. 그 다음에 이제 웹사이트, 이메일 주소를 적어드렸는데, 그건 제가 창에다 지금 올려드리겠습니다. 그 다음에 저희 그 사지구의 그 데이빗류 시의원님은 이제 이분은 한인분이십니다. 1992년 폭동 재발하지 않도록 모든 지원 총동원할 것이며, 한인타운 주민들과 비즈니스 보호는 매우 중요하다. 또한 피해 입은 비즈니스 회복할 수 있도록 지원할 것. 그게 이제 그 비즈니스들이 이제 그 피해 보신 분들을 회복할 수 있도록 지원을 하실 것인데 뭐 자세한 얘기는 없습니다. 그게 어떤 지원이지? 그래도 오늘 그렇게 말씀하셨습니다. 그 다음에 코비드-19 사태 때도 LA 한인회 한인사회 지원이 엄청난 역할을 했고, 이번 소요 사태에도 LA 한인회가 있어 커뮤니티가 하나로 함께 할 수 있어 감사를 표한다. 네. 이제 데이빗류 시의원님이 뭐 LA 한인회가 뭐 많은 도움이 된다고 이렇게 칭찬을 해주셨습니다. 감사합니다. 그 다음에 Greg Good, 이분은 Chief of Legislative and External Affairs, 이제 우리 LA시장실 메이어 가세리에 계신 분인 대외 협력 디렉터라고 여기 적혀 있네요. Greg Good이라는 분이 주 방위군 오늘 한인타운에 배치될 것, 정확한 시간은 로라 전 회장님께 문자로 업데이트 보낼 것, 오늘 벌먼트에서 시위한다는 루머 등 LA시 곳곳에서 시위가 있을 거라는 루머가 많은데 대부분 사실 아님. 코로나 바이러스 검사는 계속 받도록 2개의 비상태가 선언된 상태. 스스로 무장하지 않도록 강력히 권함. 오케이. 지금 그저께부터 이제 그 데모가 이제 너무 심해져서 그 코로나 바이러스 그 테스팅하는 사이트들이 잠시 temporarily 닫은 걸로 저도 알고 있습니다. 하지만 오늘 월요일 아침부터 다시 열었으니까 여러분 코비드-19 검사 받으셔야 되는 분들은 저기 예약을 하시고 얼른 가서 그 테스트를 받으시면 되겠습니다. 그리고 지금 소셜미디어 카카오 뭐 인스타그램 페이스북에 그저께부터 벌먼하고 유가에 시위를 한다는 그 소문이 돌았는데 그게 제가 알기에는 사실이었습니다. 일요일날 저기 시위를 그 car protest로 하기로 했는데 맞습니다. 그거는 했는데 저희 한인타운 쪽으로 오지 않고 모이자마자 다운타운으로 들어간 걸로 저는 알고 있습니다. 그래서 한인타운은 피해를 안 본 걸로 저는 알고 있습니다. LAPD에서 블레이크 차우 데피티 치프인데 이제 우리 치프 치프 바로 밑에 계신 분인데요. 마이클 모어라는 우리 LAPD 제일 높으신 분 바로 밑에 이제 대표들이 몇 분이 계신데 이 블레이크 차우라는 분은 92년과 다른 시기 LAPD도 92년과 다른 부서이다. LAPD is here for you라고 말씀하셨어요. 그러니까 저도 아까 그 미팅에 참석을 했는데 92년도에 했었던 그 LAPD 경찰 그 국이랑 지금이랑 완전 시기가 틀리고 디파트먼트 자체가 너무 좋게 바뀌었기 때문에 그런 일은 앞으로 92년도 때 4.29 폭동 때처럼 그런 일은 다시는 앞으로 생기지 않을 거라고 아주 강력하게 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 오케이. 여기 좀 커뮤니티 대책 사안이라고 써 있는데 커뮤니티 종합 상황실 운영, 피해 사례, 시위대 동향 등, 비디웨이 단체 중 선정, 한인회로 파견 근무, 피해 신고 및 관련 문의 핫라인 운영, 그 다음에 전화번호 제가 여기다 올려드렸습니다. 전화나 문자로 보내주실 수가 있고, 두 번째는 시위 및 소유 사태 관련 페이크 뉴스와 루머가 많아 혼란스러운 상황, 코비드-19과 마찬가지로 LA 한인회 확인 문의 바람. 네, 이제 페이크 뉴스 뭐 그 시위 많은 분들이 지금 오늘 하는 걸로 좀 그 벌먼하고 유가에 있는 그 시위를 오늘 하는 걸로 이제 많이 페이크 뉴스가 많이 돌아다녔는데 그런 게 혹시 있으시면은 저희 제가 지금 그 전화번호 올려드릴게요. 일로 전화나 이제 전화가 만약에 안 될 경우는 문자 메시지로 보내주시면 저희가 그게 이제 진짜인지 아닌지 확인을 해드리고 연락을 드릴 테니까 만약에 좀 뉴스가 좀 이상한 것 같으면은 코비드-19 처음에 시작했을 때 여러분 뭐 한인 식당 뭐 어디 감염된 사람 이런 것 때문에 이제 많은 그 비즈니스 오너들이 피해를 보셨는데 그런 거 좀 페이크 뉴스가 퍼지지 않게끔 잘 주의해 주시기 바랍니다. 그 다음에 여기 또 지역 정부, 시, 카운티 등 및 LAPD 등 관계 기관과 실시간 상황 업데이트 및 앱으로 전파라고 써 있습니다. 그 다음에 2번 2차 코비드-19 구호기금 신청 대상자를 이번 소요 사태의 피해자까지도 지원 확대. 전 회장님, 로라 전 그 한인회 회장님이 말씀하셨는데, 요번에 2차 저희가 1차 때는 서류 미비자분들한테 405명한테 저희가 지원금을 20만 불을 해드렸고, 요번에는 2차 구호기금을 요번에 이제 이런 뭐 데모나 뭐 이런 것 때문에 피해를 보신 분들한테도 같이 그분들도 해당이 된다고 이제 어나운스먼트를 하셨고요. 그 다음에 추가 사항 발생 시 비대위의 추가 개최 미정. 오케이. 추가 사항은 발생 시 비대위의 네. 오케이. 어쨌든 우리가 이런 문제 때문에 한인회에서 비대위를 이제 만들었습니다. 그래서 만약에 추가 사항이 발생하면은 이제 비대위하고 이제 디스커션을 하겠다고 했습니다. 그래서 그냥 제가 짧게 오늘 미팅에 대한 그거를 제가 서머라이즈 해드렸는데요. 지금부터 한 시간 동안 한 줌 미팅을 제가 뭐 많은 이제 단체장님들 뭐 정치인들 이제 얼굴이 나와서 이제 직접 목소리를 들으면서 보실 수 있는 영상을 제가 준비했으니까 여러분 같이 보시고, 그 다음에 원래 제가 이제 실업수당 영상을 지금 많이 만들고 여러분의 질문을 많이 답을 해드릴 텐데 그거는 제가 좀 이따가 해드리겠습니다. 여러분 영상 보시고 다음에 또 뵙겠습니다.
Residents and the business people are going through. I want each and every one of you to also know that the Los Angeles Police Department, which is the lead agency in trying to keep us all safe and protect our property, recognizes the anxiety that you have in the area, and they also know that it is an area that I am very concerned about. Now, David will be on the line, I would imagine soon, and he can share with you that we on the council have shared with the police department areas of concern. And I just want you to know that the Koreatown region, Koreatown area is at the top of the list. I also want to thank the residents and the business owners of Koreatown, because I received many phone calls on Saturday when the mayor announced that he was going to have a curfew in the downtown area. And there were concerns that there was not going to be, that if they were cordoning off the downtown area, that maybe disturbances could occur in the Koreatown area. Well, all of the information we got from you was passed on to the mayor's office, and you could see that he expanded the curfew citywide. A person called me and said, "Thank you, Herb." I said, "I didn't do it. You guys did it. Your organizations did it, and you're very important to the economy and to the greatness of the city of LA. So I'm honored to be on the call, and will try to do my very best to answer any questions that you might have. Again, I can't thank James An and Laura Jung enough. It's moments like this where your leadership is judged. It's not the good times, it's the challenging times. And the two of you and our community of Koreatown has risen to that challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, I would like to welcome Councilmember David Rue.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And I really want to thank the Korean American Federation, Laura John and Mr. James On. 너무 감사합니다. 우리 한인 커뮤니티한테요. 저 한국말이 조금 부족하니까 그 특별히 큰 단어 쓸 때는 좀 힘들으니까요. 저 영어로 하겠습니다. 죄송합니다. Because I just want to make sure my words are clear, and my Korean, while it is very conversational, it tends to be very lacking when it comes to terminology. But I just wanted to share the stage and thank Councilmember Wesson and Supervisor Mark Ridley-Thomas, who my office has been in contact with, as well as the mayor's office, LAPD, all the different departments and everyone involved. And we've been working, all of us, day and night to make sure that we protect the lives of our community, all Angelenos, and of course make sure protect the businesses and bring peace to our streets. And I myself, as a Korean American who lived through the '92 riots, I remember how devastating it was. I remember how confused I was, how scared I was. And I think that is a representation of our community. And this is something that I never thought would happen again, or tried everything in my power to make sure from happening. But as we all know, we are in a extraordinary circumstance. Even before the murder of George Floyd, you know, we had this pandemic crisis, and this compounding of all these issues has made it difficult for everyone. But irrespective, I know the trauma of our community. I understand the trauma of our community. I personally know that, have felt that trauma, and I will make sure that that does not replicate itself again. We've been working very closely with the mayor's office and our various council offices to make sure we know what is going on. And I want to be absolutely clear. Protecting Koreatown and protecting the lives and the livelihoods is a top concern of myself, of my colleagues, of Councilmember Wesson, Councilmember Mark Ridley-Thomas, and this is protecting the lives of Korean Americans as well as all Angelenos. And as Councilmember Herb Wesson alluded to, there was some rumors or talks earlier about the National Guard being stationed in the Koreatown area. I believe the mayor's office is on the call, and I think they will be able to give a better information on that. But I just got confirmation, Councilmember Wesson, that that they will be pre-deployed in the Koreatown area as well as other areas. the city of LA is monitoring everything that's going on. And for the most part, there are many other parts of the city that are affected, which happens to be a lot of my district as well. So myself and my team is running all around town, making sure we are providing relief and support to everybody throughout the city of LA and throughout Council District 4. But I do want to end on one note. A tragedy has occurred. George Floyd was murdered, and we as Korean Americans must understand that. And we as Korean Americans know of the huge economic divide, racial divide that still unfortunately exists in our communities, that exists in America. And since the '92 riots, we worked really hard. I mean, especially for the people, my colleagues on this call with us, the Korean and the African American community, we made tremendous strides. But what we are seeing today is different than the '92 riots. But while it's different, the similarities is when this ends, and it will end, and we will do everything in our power to make it end sooner than later. But when this ends, we need to all embrace together and come together again. And we, the Korean community, knows how to lead in that area. It's about unity. It's about peace. There is no room for violence or looting. Violence and looting takes away and taints all the progress that has been made, and taints the travesty that has occurred nationwide with George Floyd and many others. And so we have to the Korean American community needs to stand with the African American community and all economically disadvantaged communities to stand in solidarity. So I just really want to thank the Korean American Federation for hosting this, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, I would like to welcome a representative from the Mayor's Office, Mr. Greg Good. He is the Chief of Legislative and External Affairs for Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Hello, can folks hear me?
Yes.
Still getting used to this new world and new technology. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be brief. My name is Greg Good, as it was just mentioned. I'm the Mayor's Chief of Legislative and External Affairs. The Mayor sends his regrets. He is very much in real-time operations right now. Because, among other things, who could have guessed that we would be in a moment of 2 declared emergencies concurrently? It's obviously a extremely tough time. It's an extremely tough time for all Angelenos, for all Americans, everyone in this country, and certainly for the folks of Koreatown. And we're exceedingly sensitive to and aware of concerns and anxieties and hope that exists in the Koreatown community. I would just say this, per Councilman Ryu and Councilman Wesson's comments, the National Guard will be pre-deployed and certainly on watch in Koreatown. The goal and the role of the National Guard, some of which will be focused on the county, as I'm sure Supervisor Ridley-Thomas was alluded to, and some of which will be focused on the city, is to hold ground. It is to protect businesses and property, and to provide a place force and presence to discourage nefarious and mischievous and illegal activity, while also allowing for the LAPD to be focused on the work of getting out and moving folks, but also protecting folks, both protesters, legitimate protesters, as well as the community, as well as the officers themselves. And so the National Guard presence will be and is very meaningful. And as we saw, even over the last couple of days, the National Guard presence coming in around midnight and after. We saw a significant shift last night. There was obviously incredible damage and destruction and looting in Santa Monica and Long Beach. We did see a different sort of landscape in the city, as well as downtown, and we hope that that will, and anticipate that that will continue. As you've likely heard, consistent with the county, the city of Los Angeles will obviously be subject to a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew tonight. We obviously are coordinating closely with the county and take the lead of the county on that, and we'll do so tomorrow, but that'll be a day-to-day thing. But I think first and foremost, what I'd say is this is not 1992. At this point in 1992, and 1992 was my first year in Los Angeles personally. It was at this point, I believe there were 55 deaths that took place at this point, and what at a same juncture in 1992. And while the pain and the anguish and the dislocation and the anger are legitimate and real, what is happening on the ground is light years ahead of what it was then, and the powers that be that are engaged, including our police chief, are very different people, and so we're confident that we can maintain peace and property and life, while also protecting the legitimate right to protest peacefully for Angelenos of all stripes. And so we are here for you. I very much appreciate you having us on the call and having me on the call. And I'm obviously happy to answer questions. We are in constant coordination with the county. We're in constant coordination with Chief Michael Moore. And we are in this obviously 24/7 and committed to your safety, the safety of the community, and the safety of your property. So thank you very much.
So thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Greg. I'm sorry. So before we move on to other updates, our elected officials, many of them have to leave. So before they leave, we're going to take a couple questions from our community. So if you have any questions, please let us know. 저희가 이제 질문 먼저 받도록 하겠습니다. 몇몇 정치인분들께서 다른 스케줄이 있어서 먼저 가셔야 되기 때문에 질문해 주시기 바랍니다.
And we also just got a message from LAPD saying that after careful consideration, they will get the National Guard to be in Koreatown. So that's what I hear now. And I don't know when the National Guard will be dispatched into Koreatown, but that's what I heard.
네, 방금 저희 한인회에서도 그 주 방위군이 오늘 배치된다고 컨펌을 받았습니다. Greg, do you have any idea on approximate what time the National Guard will be coming into Koreatown?
I do not, sir. But what I can do is, as soon as I can find out, I will let Laura know if that's a logical step. Certainly. I don't know right now, though.
지금 줌에 계신 분들은
If I could just jump in, on my way to my district office to chat, guys, we saw a large contingent of the National Guard on the move. So my belief is that they are being deployed at wherever they've been ordered to go. So I would hope that they would quickly be in the Koreatown area.
Thank you.
Is it a matter of a call to the chief of police to find out and dispatch that information with some immediacy? The National Guard is obliged to coordinate and cooperate with the local police. They are here to support the police. They do not have a separate agenda. it's a coordinated agenda. And so if anyone were to know, it would seem to me to be the captain and ultimately the chief, captain, commander, and ultimately the chief that could provide us with that information. It would seem to me we can get that in short order.
Yeah, well, I think Greg said he was going to make that call.
Yes, sir. Yeah, both sirs. I agreed. I just need to find out, and I've already sent a text, so I certainly let everyone know as soon as possible.
Okay. Now Deputy Chief is Blake is online, so that now we can introduce Deputy.
So we
Chief.
have LAPD Deputy Chief Blake Chow on the line.
Where?
Yes, good afternoon, I'm here.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you provide a quick update from your vantage point?
Yeah, definitely. So the LAPD has a command post that's set up over at our Emergency Operations Center. So we're monitoring everything that's been happening in the city. We are currently, the chief mobilized us about a day ago, which means all days off are canceled as well as vacations. And our officers are now working 12-hour shifts, split between A and B watch. So we have basically roughly half of the 10,000 officers are working on day watch, and then half of them are working on PM watch. So we're monitoring a lot of intelligence about where demonstrations are supposed to be starting. As you can see from the news, downtown has been very active with demonstrations, as well as what we had over on the on Fairfax on 3rd Street. So we're really, you know, we have our ear to the railroad track about where things are happening, and we have the ability to push resources out very quickly to handle those demonstrations. I heard a rumor that some people thought there was going to be a demonstration on Vermont. There's no information out there that we have that would suggest that there's supposed to be a demonstration at that location. So I had our intelligence people kind of look into that, but we can't find anything regarding that. And right now, there's a lot of information that's coming out about potential demonstrations that's not panning out.
Yes.
So, you know, we're getting it, so we're analyzing it. Like I said, if a group starts forming, we have the ability to send our resources out there very quickly. And in regards to the National Guard, yes, you're correct. They're coming to Koreatown, but I don't know the timing yet. But I know the chief mentioned it in the conference call that we had this morning at 9 o'clock. So they will be there. That's kind of all I have right now. You know, like I said, we've got some smaller demonstrations up in the valley, but there's nothing in our intelligence that would suggest that anything is happening in Koreatown.
네, 이제 질문 받도록 하겠습니다. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand on Zoom or speak loudly into the conference line.
What would you advise our business owners and shopkeepers? Because we just opened, our businesses were open like from last Friday, but then this whole incident occurred. So the people are very much confused in terms of what to do, whether to close the shops or board it up, or to keep the shop open and do something like what we did in 1992, you know, protect our properties with their guns and whatnot. So, but then we want to make sure that, you know, we do not want to see anything unfortunate happens. So we want to prevent any unfortunate events by using guns and whatnot in their properties. But then we want to make sure that people are clear on the directions that they should take, and then advice has to be clear, I think, so that, you know, do we keep doors open, the business open, or do we board it up and then close for a while, for a week or so, until things are quiet and then managed? And that kind of very direct information and advice is, you know, needed at this point.
Well, this is Herb. I'll just jump in and say, without a shadow of a doubt, we understand the desire to protect one's property, but I would not recommend that anybody arm themselves. We need to truly trust that our law enforcement is going to do the best that they can to protect us. This is a totally different situation than it was in 1992. The mayor's office is talking directly with the police department. That did not occur before. The council offices are briefed on a regular basis. I spoke to Greg Good 3 times on Saturday and Garcetti twice. So the environment is different. And property, lock it up, secure it, but I would under no circumstances recommend that people take weapons to their businesses.
I think that's clear enough so that we'll take your advice and then we'll let community folks know about this. Thank you.
I want to suggest the fact that we just the county just issued public health orders that said restaurants could open just a matter of 72 plus hours ago, and as soon as that happened, we were confronted with civil unrest, which meant that many of those restaurants had to immediately shut down. I would say that to the extent that there is presence of the National Guard, there's presence of the Los Angeles Police Department, it is up to the business owner to make a business decision as to whether or not they feel comfortable going forward. But we are focusing a lot more on collaboration and prevention. In other words, we are not getting behind the problem. We're trying to get in front of the problem. So if there were any difficulty to arise in the Koreatown community, there would be a clear and present deterrent. And so I think businesses, Stan and Dr. John, we had a number of conversations about how hard it was for businesses to survive before now. And the level of discrimination and stereotyping that was going on that adversely affect Korean business owners, particularly restaurateurs. I would want to encourage people to make an appropriate and measured leap of faith, and let's begin to try to open up our businesses, our economy, so that people can enjoy the benefits of their communities, and those who work in the restaurants and other businesses can be employed again. And if that were to happen on a very measured basis, I think we can begin to turn the corner, and I would hope we could do that. I would advise caution, but as long as there's presence, and I think there should be daily check-ins with the appropriate authorities, the supervisor's office, the council office, the mayor's office, the police department, as to whether or not there are issues. Now, we cannot predict with certainty where there will be a flashpoint. We cannot. But we can be proactive and preventive, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's the nature of this conversation today. So we will be very, very vigilant.
And if I could add to that really quickly, I just want to echo the sentiments of Councilmember Wesson and Supervisor Mark Ridley-Thomas. We do not want vigilantism. We do not want, as in 92, storekeepers with weapons protecting their stores, because this is not 92. Police will respond. As a matter of fact, you heard earlier from the LAPD report, National Guard will be pre-deployed in the Koreatown area. So there is no need for any type of vigilantism because guns only escalate the situation. And the last thing we want is a loss of life in any direction. As a matter of fact, even law enforcement does not use weapons. At most, they have rubber bullets and tear gas. They do not use weapons. So I wholeheartedly want to reiterate what Councilman Wesson and Supervisor Mark Ridley-Thomas said. The police will respond. And if there happens to be any damages, and I've been getting some reports of some stores being damaged and looted, we will be here for you. We were already, even before the uprising and looting during the pandemic, we were already coming up with a business relief package, so how we could help. And I think Supervisor from the county side is also doing that as well, how we could help businesses come back on your feet. This is something we're already planning for, and any loss, we will work with you to recover any losses. But let's make sure that loss does not extend to any more human life. Because that will only exacerbate the situation and make the situation worse. And as the supervisor said, we're trying to be proactive and get ahead of the situation, not be reactive to it. So thank you for that question.
Okay.
And this is
James Hanna, Korean American Federation Chairman. Many people are calling to KOTRA.
잠시만요.
They ask us, should we close and board up our shops? Can you answer for us? Councilman Liu or maybe Hobwarts?
Mr. Chairman, I suggested that businesses try to open up and go forward, but do daily check-ins to make sure that there is a market out there where people are interested in taking advantage of the services. We have to take what is a measured leap of faith with prevention from law enforcement, with support from the city and county. That's where we are. I want to encourage people to do the business that they need to do. Some will, some won't. Our job, our responsibility is to be there for you before and after, and you can be fully assured that we will. It's a bit unprecedented for this number of elected officials to focus on a single area, but we're here, and there are more that can help, and we should do that. And I think we need to return to some semblance of normalcy, and those who want to loot, destroy, and all of that, they will have to face the consequences of doing so. It will not happen without consequences. Those days are behind us.
And Mr. Chairman, I did not hear the statement or the question. I heard a little bit of you, and then I also believe that Steve was talking, maybe I was wrong, but I think he was trying to chime in. So maybe
Steve.
Let him make his statement, and if you repeat the question, I'll do my best to answer it. But Chief, weren't you trying to get in?
Yeah. You know, we have so many people calling to us. Should we close and board up our shops?
He was asking the question, should they board up the shops, Mr. Weston?
Well, I think that has to be a personal decision. I do have a problem with us being held hostage by a small percentage of protesters that would destroy property and loot. I again think that's a personal decision.
Yeah.
But it may not be a bad idea to show that we are still here, that we are still operating, that we are still conducting business. But that is a personal decision. But you should also, again, I want to reiterate that this is not 1992, that your government is in communication with our main focus being on keeping you and your businesses safe.
I think Commander Blake Chow from LAPD. I think Commander Blake Chow from LAPD want to address your last question. I think it's very important to hear from LAPD.
Yeah, I thought I heard him.
Madam President, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'll need to be excused right now, as I had given advance notice that that's the case. Thank you, and God bless you. Call me at any time.
Take care, Sue.
Thank you, sir.
Deputy Chief, can you provide your remarks right now?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, I completely agree with what everything that everybody said. We do not want armed guards up on top of rooftops trying to protect property. That would just be a recipe for disaster and be dangerous. And I will point out that I was a police officer in 1992 when the riots broke out. And I look at our department then and I compare it to what we are right now. It's not even the same department. Our training regarding handling these types of situations is 100% better than it was back then. Our relationship with our council offices is 100% better than it was back then. And our relationship with the mayor's office is 100% better than it was back then. You have a great captain in Olympic, Patricia Sandoval, as you know, who has got her thumb on the pulse of what's happening, and believe me, we're in contact with her. So if we hear anything that would lead us to believe that something's going to happen in Koreatown, we'll be there for you before it even happens. And I'm hoping, I'm hoping that as the city and the activity kind of slows down over, hopefully tonight and the next week or so, you will see kind of a return to normalcy regarding your relationships, your ability to reach out to your senior lead officers. We'll also be out there making sure that our communication with you and us and the other city agencies is working. So again, I just want to reiterate that the police department is here for you regarding anything over the not only the next couple of weeks, but on down the line.
Thank you.
We've received several questions from, so we're going to try to go in order. The recent events have impacted the operation of COVID-19 testing sites. What advice can you provide to those who are waiting and wanting to take these tests?
Can I have a question just for a brief minute?
We want to answer one of two.
We'll go with the COVID-19 testing question, and then we'll move on. So Councilmember Wesson or Councilmember Rue, do you have any insight into the testing sites?
I think individuals should continue to make the appointments and find out when there's available time for them to go in and take the test. We all know that the minority communities, from the African American, Latino, and Asian community, that our numbers are higher. So what we don't want is for individuals that feel as though they need the test not to feel comfortable enough to try to get the test. Now, we have reduced some hours, but I think as time goes by, and I mean by hours and days, you'll see us be able to redeploy these sites so that they can go back to handling the numbers that they were handling prior to these protests. But continue to go through the process that was set up for you to get testing. Do not put that off if you can get it. David, you want to chime in?
Well, actually, I wanted to have Greg chime in first, give us updates on the testings, if it's when it's open and how long.
That's a good idea.
Thank you, Councilmember Weston, Councilmember Rue. Yeah, I would just echo that. One, I want to just clarify some rumors that were floating, some misinformation that was floating around over the weekend, and clarify for all of you. On Saturday, we stopped testing at 3 o'clock. Typically speaking, we have stopped testing. We test 6 days a week. Sundays have always been an off day. We typically go 8 to 5. We stopped at 3. That was characterized by some, certainly in online media, as some sort of punitive measure on the part of the city. That is absolutely, completely, and totally untrue. It was reflective of the fact that most of our test sites are handled or run by volunteers, and or the volunteers are crucial to their actually being able to run, and volunteers simply put felt like they needed to go home as a matter of safety. So that was not any sort of punitive measure. The Dodger the test site at Dodger Stadium is up and running and will be. And to Councilman Wesson's point, folks should, and the test site in South LA at Kedron Community Clinic is up and running, and folks should absolutely continue to avail themselves of that. Go on, sign up for interviews, or excuse me, for appointments. It's crucial. This is an incredible time where we are in the midst of 2 different declarations of emergency, and we cannot lose sight of that pandemic and the necessity of testing. One other thing I just wanted to add, just because I think it's important that the mayor's office be on the record, in concert with Councilmember Rue, in concert with Councilmember Wesson, in concert with Deputy Chief Chow and with Supervisor Ridley-Thomas, we would unequivocally discourage any sort of arming or any sort of arming up in advance of any sort of anticipated thing. That's a counterproductive step that we would strongly discourage. But please have folks sign up for testing. It will be back online.
Thank you.
Next question, we have Haypen. She was waiting.
Hi, Haypen in with Faith and Community Empowerment. Thank you again for this opportunity to connect and to hear directly. I guess 2 things. One is that I've seen different responses from the police officers, and I know that a family member works at a Korean bank and they're closing shop today around 2. And then I guess some of the businesses, they're boarding their stores. So I just want to know, what is the police officers' responsibility? How are they to respond when they see looting or people breaking in? What is their responsibility supposed to be?
Deputy Chief Chow.
This is Blake Chow. I'm sorry, I didn't. What was the question? Is what was the responsibility of these
police
store
officers?
owners if they?
Yeah. So how are they supposed to respond? Are they supposed to just? I've heard some stories where they're supposed to just hang back. Are they hanging back? Are they supposed to proactively intervene? And so I do want that, but also, like, I think, was it Walgreens in Beverly Hills? Even though the police responded pretty quickly, like within a minute or so, I believe, pretty much a lot of the goods were already gone by the time the police came, and it was like very quick response. So there's a lot of consequences for the store owners, and you're telling them not to respond, and hopefully no one has to bring out their guns or anything like that. And I do feel it's a little bit a different atmosphere from 92, but still at the end of the day, the store owners are at risk of losing their life savings. So could you just share first, how are they supposed to, what are their orders in terms of response when they see looting or break-in?
Well, let me just start by saying, some of the looting that you saw, especially with some of the things that we saw yesterday on television, was a direct result of just not having enough resources on the ground. You know, a lot of the police officers, or a big, large number of them that were dealing with large crowds, were stretched so thin that these incidents were happening. And they didn't have the resources to respond to it. But again, like as I mentioned, the chief mobilized us a couple of days ago. So nobody has any days off, nobody has vacations, and there are 5,000 officers working on day watch and 5,000 on PM watch. So we have a lot of resources out there. Now, if a store is looted, you know, we will be notified, and we have specific tactics that are involved with making sure that we can kind of isolate the area around the store and start making arrests without jeopardizing the safety of our officers, our community members, and also the people that we're contacting. So what I would suggest for store owners, if, you know, as soon as they see that activity happening, you can be sure that the LAPD is going to be responding, and it would be best to get to an area that's safe and just let the police officers handle that crowd the way that they're trained.
So they will be proactively intervening in terms of stopping the looting and intervening with the people who are looting.
No, I mean, from a safety standpoint, I would not recommend that.
No. Are the police officers
that are involved in this are very unpredictable? You see that they have no, you know, they use weapons to break the windows, to pry the doors off. I would not recommend that a shop owner try to intervene with when a store is being looted. The best thing to do is to call the police, obviously. And as I said, we have so many people out there right now. We'll get there very quickly. Kind of get to a safe area and just let the officers respond, contain it, and start making arrests so we can secure the store.
Okay, so you are going, so the officers, it wasn't so much what the shop owners will be doing, but the second question was really related to that the police officers are, I don't know, equipped to be intervening, making arrests, etc. So they're not going to be hanging back, but they will be proactively intervening to stop the looting.
Yes, that's 100% correct. As I mentioned, we're a lot different department than we were back in the one I remember in 1992. We train on how to and we know now that something that we learned 28 years ago was that we have to intervene to stop the spread of looting. And so, you know, our supervisors, our officers, our lieutenants, our captains, we know that when we come to something like that, we have to intervene so that we can limit it to as small an area as possible.
Okay. One last thing is that I know earlier there was a discussion. I just want to be clear. There was supposed to be some kind of protest by car. I'm not even sure if it was related to.
It was yesterday. That was yesterday.
So it was done. It's not happening today.
No, not that we're aware of, unless the chief got something new.
Got it. Thank you.
We're going to the next question.
We'll go to the next question.
So, what do you think? How long do you think this whole situation will last? I mean, if the demonstrations and lootings seem to be very organized and systematic in their approaches, and we kind of got concerned, and you know, how long do we need to endure this situation? And also, are there any efforts to find the culprits and then take action?
Well, you know, that's really an impossible question to answer. If you could consider riots, unrest, a normal situation, but they're usually organically grown and they're spontaneous. This one is a little different. You know, the constant locations on social media, where to go and what have you. It's really hard to gauge when this will stop. I wish I could tell you that it is already over. We should all pray that tonight is the last night, but no way can anybody speculate this. Again, when this happens, it's usually an ebb and then things kind of go down. During this, you've got a lot of people that are out there fighting what they believe is right and just, and many of us stand with them. But you also have a significant group of people that are out there that are anarchists. They just want to see chaos, and they love to see our city in turmoil like this. So I think it'll be over when it's over. I think that our police department is geared up. We have assistance. There is communication. So I think we are in a better position to deal with this than we were 28 years ago. But I wouldn't even try to guess when this is over.
And you know, and I want to echo that. This is a very different uprising than the 92. For one, the pandemic was the safer at home order was almost in effect for about 3 months. So there were a lot of people and a lot of pent up frustration, a lot of anger already. And the problem is, unlike 92, in 92, they were maybe asking for a resignation. They were asking for some police brutality, changes in police brutality issues. This time around, it's more amorphous. They're asking not just for a change in police brutality procedures, they're asking for, in some instances, for the entire police department to disappear. Or in some instances, they want the whole system to change, right? So, and that's why it makes it more difficult, where there is no one answer. And the other thing is there's no person on the opposite side to talk to as well. And we're trying really hard to reach out and do everything else. And this is why, going back to your other question about protecting the stores, use of force will only exacerbate the situation. Whether the use of force comes from police or use of force comes from store owners, there might be thoughts where stop everything now, declare, you know, martial order and stop everything. That might actually exacerbate what's going on right now because of all these underlying fundamental problems. And the underlying fundamental problems that people are asking for, people have realized in previous riots, not much change. So people are asking for systemic change because people are, before even the George Floyd murder, before the pandemic, it was very, very expensive and very, very hard to live in LA. People were upset about homelessness. The fact that why are there homeless people? We need to help homeless people. People were upset about poverty, about lack of jobs, about lack of housing, all of these issues. That education costs too much, healthcare costs too much. So everybody wants all of these problems to be fixed. And as we know, these problems, just take one of them, even homelessness. That's why Councilmember Wesson and myself, we were trying to build so many homeless shelters to get people off the streets. It's not going to happen overnight. So we have to find a creative way to understand and get to the end of this. But we are hoping that the violence ceases, the looting ceases, because those things are unacceptable.
I agree, David.
Okay, we have a question from the president of the Korean American Manufacturers Association, Mr. Richard Cho.
네. 네, 여보세요.
네, 회장님 말씀하세요.
I think it's a good idea.
Richard, we could hear you.
You don't need to be here. I think we should.
I can't.
If you want to do that stuff at home, then you can do it.
Go to the next question, Steve.
Richard 회장님, 그러면 저희가, so we have to wrap up in a minute or two. So we'll go with our last few questions. So this is for all the parties.
Anyway, so go ahead. Just wrap up.
In-language support is key for the Korean American community. We have a lot of monolingual Korean American business owners, as well as residents seeking assistance for a variety of things. Can the LAPD and the city provide in-language support for whether it's calls to the LAPD for different types of assistance or to different council offices?
Yes, I'll let Blake Chow speak on behalf of the LAPD, but both my office and Councilmember Weston's office has Korean speakers that you could call our offices. I know it's a little bit harder to get through right now because we are being inundated with emails and calls on a variety of issues, but please don't hesitate to continue trying to reach out. I believe the mayor's office has Korean speakers as well, but I believe 211 also has Korean language capability. But more importantly, and I know we have a lot of senior lead officers, which is a lot different than 92, that are Korean American. And I believe the one of the senior lead officers for the Koreatown area, Harry Kim, is a Korean American. I think he speaks Korean as well. But Blake, do you want to add on? And
agree with what was just council member just said. LAPD has got a number of Korean speakers now. In 1992, it was very hard to find one. So, and they work Koreatown, so we have that connection. But they call communications division 911, and they can they'll have somebody that can interpret for them. So we also have different types of information that we hand out to community members that are also done in Korean. So we have a significant number of avenues by which we can communicate with community members that speak Korean.
Okay, we have Mr.
Can I give a shout out to the Korean American Federation? I know both my office and Councilman Weston's office donated money because without the Korean American Federation, without Han인회, we could not field all the calls. And you guys have been working. I mean, James On, not the chairman James On, but the other James On. He's, I mean, Chairman James On too.
The other one.
But the other James On. He's been in the office every single day with Jeff and everybody else, fielding hundreds of calls and in-person requests. I mean, truly, without the Federation, more than any other organizations. And they filter a lot of calls for us, get them all answered. For those that can't, they contact our offices, myself and Councilman Wesson. We just really couldn't survive without you guys. And we thank you for holding this press conference as well.
Yeah, and I think what it just shows how important it is that you have direct relationships with the nonprofit organizations that are committed to delivering services to the community that they work in. Another big difference between now and in 1992 is that we didn't have this kind of relationship. I too have to applaud Laura in particular and the Federation for being on the front line. And I really believe that that's making a difference at this point in time. And if there is a problem, something occurs where we need more services, we'll work with you to make sure that you have the resources to put services online.
Thank you so much, Herb.
Yep.
So I just want to reiterate that we just need more patrolling in Koreatown, as we heard that the National Guard will be dispatched so that the situation will be a lot better and then things will be managed in an organized fashion. We want to conclude our sort of a conference, but then we want to speak a few words in Korean so that our Korean folks will know what KOTRA will do in regards to this situation. We're gonna organize the sort of a hotline, and then we're gonna select a group of organizations to work in this hotline, and then also we'll update and then establish sort of a better and then working relationship with all the local authorities and elected officials as we used to do, to make sure that we have all the pertinent information to disseminate in to the community. And then also we want to include the shopkeepers who whose shops are damaged, those people can apply for our second relief fund, so that we can share our relief fund with them. Because in the initial, we distributed about $500 per person for 405 people in the first event. So that in the second event, we trying to do more than 200 people per 500 per person or family. But then since we have this additional the people who need help, that we want to include these the demonstrations or lootings, all these people who are shoppers, whose shops are damaged and so on, they can apply for this the relief fund as well. And then also we're gonna have another meeting of this sort if this whole situation continues, so that we'll update the community again in regards to what is happening and brief the community again. And we want to thank everyone who joined today's conference, and deeply appreciate your time and effort to protect Cape Town safe.
So before we close, one last announcement. Councilmember John Lee wasn't able to be here, but he wanted me to relay that his office has Korean American staff members available to assist for those in the 12th Council District. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you, council members and Deputy Chief, and Mr. Good as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, if I could, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Laura, for having us on. We also do, as Councilmember Rube mentioned, have staff members who speak Korean, and we are fully committed to this community and to your safety and the safety of the businesses in your community. So thank you very much for having us.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.